Hey team, happy Friday. Today's weather in the studio is going to be partly cloudy. Yes, that is a very bad joke, but I was dying to say it. Welcome to Tech Out. Today's episode is going to focus on cloud. We often hear about the cloud, but what is it and why do companies want to be a part of the cloud? Well, there are several reasons why companies may want to be a part of a cloud environment, right? Well, first of all, a cloud is not a cloud. A cloud is using another vendor's infrastructure. The purpose of using the cloud, there are several reasons for it. I think the primary reason is to save money. If a company is saving money and achieving their goals and objectives and their mission much quicker, they're going to be very happy, right? So what is the cloud? What is cloud computing? Right? What is cloud computing? According to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST. So for those of you that are studying cybersecurity, for those of you that are studying cloud technologies, you're going to hear NIST quite often. Trust me when I tell you that, quite often. Cloud computing now, according to NIST, cloud computing is a pay-per-use model for enabling convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable and reliable computing resources, such as networks, servers, storage, applications, and services, right? That can be rapidly, there's your key word, rapidly provisioned and released with minimal consumer management effort or service provider interaction. That's the beauty of the cloud, is that you can spin up a virtual machine, you can spin up a service, and when you no longer need it, you can then shut it down, or you can reduce it as much as possible. Remember, everything that we do, we're always focused on company goals, right? Cloud computing in most cases is more cost effective compared to traditional data centers. With data centers, you have what's called capital expenses, which is money spent upfront on equipment that you may not fully utilize. Let me give you an example. Say, for example, I'm tasked by the IT manager to build a file server. Okay, I need to now buy the server, memory, drives, all this stuff, service contract is included. With everything said and done, I could be spending $15,000, $20,000 depending upon the type of server that I get. That's a lot of money up front, and it's not a guarantee that I'm going to fully utilize that equipment, which in the long run will become wasted money. With the cloud, however, you can then spin up what you need, and you can choose the networking, computing, storage capabilities that you need to fully operate that server that meets company goals, right? Now, with the cloud environment, you can scale up and you can scale down, meaning that you can add additional resources or you can then take them away, right? If you want to scale out, you are now adding more servers or more equipment based on the traffic coming in, based on the load that's happening, whatever the situation is. So you can scale up, scale down, or you can scale out. It all depends on what the company situation is. Some fun facts here. According to NIST Cloud Research Team, right? The NIST Cloud Research Team, let's talk about the cost of traditional data centers. When I read this just threw me back. There are 11.8 million servers sitting in data centers. That is a lot of equipment. That is a lot of electricity. Servers are used at only 15% of their capacity. That's very little right there. $800 billion with the B, $800 billion spent yearly on purchasing and maintaining enterprise software. The average power consumption per server quadrupled from 2001 to 2006. Take, for example, a standard 9,000 square foot facility costs $21.3 million to build. And it's using about $1 million in electricity annually. That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money that's being spent up front. Did you know that IT alone produces 2% of global carbon dioxide emissions? I didn't know that. Very interesting stuff right there. What about security in the cloud? You are going to need a security team, of course, because when you are utilizing the cloud, you are still responsible for the data that resides there. Remember, it's your job to protect that data. The cloud also provides fault tolerance and the reliability, greater resiliency. The cloud also provides, if you choose to utilize it, a low-cost disaster recovery and data storage solutions. Great stuff right there. The cloud provides on-demand security controls and, of course, real-time detection of system tampering, and there is so much more. Another great thing about the cloud, and you're going to be learning a lot about this when it comes to cloud, with ranging from A+ to all types of different certifications, and it's called service level agreements, SLAs, right? A service level agreement are contracts between customers and the service provider. And basically, it's going to spell out the level of service that will be provided, the amount of uptime, throughput, response time, and there's other stuff in there as well. So when shopping for a cloud provider, a cloud service provider, you also want to research the service level agreements. That's very important because that will determine a lot of stuff. So make sure that you are researching that stuff. Now let's dive a little bit more into the cloud here, right? Now, there are 3 main cloud service models that you will learn about in many different certifications. We have software as a service. We have platform as a service. We have infrastructure as a service. Now, what are these things? What are they? And of course, you're going to hear everything as a service, and not just marketing kicking in. But the 3 main models would be SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. So what is software as a service? You as a consumer, you have access to the provider's applications running on a cloud infrastructure. For example, let's say, Dropbox, Google Drive, iCloud, Microsoft's OneDrive, Microsoft Office 365. That is all considered software as a service. All you need is a connection, which is an internet connection, and you need a browser, and you have access to that application. Platform as a service. Programmers love this, right? This is deployed mainly for programmers to work their magic as far as coding, right? The cloud service provider handles everything except for the programming aspect. So the programmers just need to log into the virtual server and do their thing. Infrastructure as a service, IaaS, right? This is basically storage, right? This is basically storage, network capacity, and other types of computing resources. So basically, you are utilizing the cloud service provider's network facility. You are responsible as the customer. You are still responsible for operating system, management, security, patching, stuff like that. You're just, again, with IaaS, you are using the vendor's infrastructure. Now, there are several cloud deployment models to be aware of as well. Okay, you have your public cloud, right? This model is, this is for the general public. You have a private cloud. This is for a single organization. It can be located on-premise or structured through the cloud service provider. Obviously, that'll probably cost a little bit more money. You have a community cloud. Services are offered to organizations that may have similar interests or shared services. A hybrid cloud, any combination of your public, private, or community cloud. Why the public cloud is so popular and cost-effective is due to a term called multi-tenancy. Multiple customers or tenants share the cloud service provider's computing resources in a secure manner. Now, there are several major cloud game players out there. We have Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, let's keep that in mind, and of course, Google Cloud Platform. Let's focus on Azure. Azure is, I think it's fantastic. But Azure is comprised of over 200 products and cloud services. You can build, run, manage applications across various environments, such as multiple clouds and, of course, on-premise, right? Microsoft has a number of Azure certifications. Now, keep this in mind now. MyComputerCareer is now offering training on 2 fundamental Azure certifications. We have Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, which is your AZ900, and Microsoft Security, Compliance, and Identity Fundamentals, SC900. Azure Fundamentals consists of cloud concepts, Azure services and workloads, security and privacy, pricing and support. It's basically it's a certification about cloud fundamentals. There's a lot of terminology in there that you have to know. There's also, it provides a really good entry-level foundation for you to understand cloud computing. Microsoft Security, Compliance, and Identity Fundamentals focuses more on fundamentals of security, threats, Active Directory, compliance, policies, and identity across cloud-based and related Microsoft services such as Azure and Microsoft 365. The gateway, now I want to talk a little bit about Azure itself. The gateway to Azure is through what's called the Azure portal. So if you go to portal.azure.com, you will see the actual Azure portal. Now let's take a look. I'm already logged into my Azure portal, and let's just take a look around here because there's a lot of stuff here. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, I do not know all of it. There is a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of services. There's a lot to do. You can run an entire corporation right through Azure if you really wanted to. But before you do anything with Azure, you have to have what's called a subscription. So depending upon the subscription that you have, that will dictate what you can do in Azure. I right now have a free subscription. If you wanted to sign up for a free Azure account, you can do so. I highly recommend that you get on the Azure portal, because while studying for AZ900 and while studying for SC900, you will get a picture as to what you're learning. You have to see this in action. Yes, of course, through your labs, through Skillsoft and all that stuff is fantastic. However, I do also recommend you check out Azure Live, okay? It is optional. You do not have to do it, but I think it's a very good idea. So you have a subscription here. You have resource groups. You can create virtual machines. You have SQL databases, and there are other types of SQL databases, non-SQL databases, or NoSQL, and all that types of stuff. So let me just take a look here. Let's see. So if you go to the left here, you have a dashboard, home, all this other types. Again, stuff that you see here, load balancers. Look at all this stuff. Virtual networks. Of course, there's always monitoring, and there's an advisor here which will help you, make the right choices depending upon what you're doing. And while you are studying AZ900, you will learn a little bit more about the advisor and about monitoring services and all of that stuff. So let's click on subscription. Let's take a look here. And it just basically tells me, what's going on. Azure subscription 1, they give you like an ID here. I'm telling you, it's a free one. That's all that I did, right? So now I also created what's called a resource group. Now, you want to have a resource group, and within your resource group, this is where you can spin up virtual machines and virtual networks and other stuff depending upon what you're doing. Now, I created one already just to save some time, and it's called MyComputerCareer. So within my resource group, I have a file server called FileServer01. Now, it's actually up and running. I believe it's server 2022 rather. And if you take a look here, I've already RDP'd into it. Now, the way that I'm connected to this server right now, it is not secure. It's for testing purposes. And Microsoft even states that if you're going to connect to this server over the network, over the internet, it's not safe as to what I'm doing. That's okay, because I'm doing it for testing purposes, and Microsoft clearly states that. So I just wanted to show you that. So really what I want to do here with you is this. Again, we can spend so much time navigating and all that, but I'm gonna leave that for you. I just want to basically spin up another server and see if we can connect to this server. All right, so I'm in my resource group called MyComputerCareer. Click on Create. That'll bring me to the marketplace, and that's another thing that I want to show you really quick. So before we do that, and I do bounce around sometimes, you go to the marketplace here, and this is where you can install things, purchase things, whatever that your corporation needs to make your cloud environment work. You will most likely go through the marketplace unless you are bringing on-premise servers into the cloud, which is a what's called P2V, a physical to virtual. And if you're doing that, that's not really utilizing the cloud. You're just moving a physical server into the cloud. Yeah, it's in the cloud, but nothing much has changed except for how you are going to access it and some configurations. But yeah, the marketplace. So I do recommend that, go into the marketplace, check it out, navigate, see what's around, do some searches. Maybe let's see if I put in, server, and again, it'll populate some stuff. Maybe I'll put in, let's see if I put in Windows, what does that do? There it is, a Windows Server 2016. Look, it has IoT. There's a lot of IoT in here, that you can do. Internet of Things, very, very popular, and that's also on the exam. Keep that in mind. So, but I think we're going to focus on creating another server. So let's see what we can do here. We can create server 2019 data center. We can do Ubuntu, SQL Server. Oh, there's so much that I can do here. So I guess let's go with server 2019. Let's do that. So we're gonna click on create. Now this may take some time, and that's okay. And then this brings you to a series of tabs over here, and you have to go through each one. So the first thing it'll tell you, my subscription, okay? What am I allowed to group? And then my resource group. If I drop this down, I'm going to choose MyComputerCareer. Now, the virtual machine name. Let's call this file server 02 because I already have 01. I'm going to keep a lot of the defaults. I'm just going to use their standard templates, just for speed purposes and stuff like that. Let's see here. Okay, 2019, the size. I guess, here you can choose what you want. I'm going to choose one virtual CPU and 3.5 gigabytes of RAM. I'm going to stick with the basics. I don't need any more than that. Okay. Username. Well, let's see here. Let's go with, we're going to make up an admin name here. An admin name, mycc admin. I'm going to put in my secret password that you cannot see. Hopefully I can log in, because usually when I create passwords, I cannot log in afterwards. I don't know why. Okay, now inbound port rules. Allow selected. Yeah, we're going to allow selected, and there it is. RDP port 3389. Right, know your port numbers. And it says here, this will allow all IP addresses to access your virtual machine. But notice the warning here. This is only recommended for testing, testing purposes, right? So again, if you're really setting up an entire network, if you're really setting up a true secure environment, you're not going to do it this way. But I'm going to do it this way. Let's see here, licensing. We're going to skip that. Our disks, we're just going to stick with the basics here. I'm not going to make any types of changes. You can do the encryption type, encryption at rest with a customer managed key. I'm not going to do any of that right now because I'm not putting data on this server. My goal here is just to spin it up and connect to it. That is it. Networking. Let's see here. MyComputerCareer, my subnet. Well, I only got the one subnet, so we're going to stick with that, and and let's see if it works. It creates public IP, yada yada. Okay, again, testing purposes only, and it's telling me that RDP is the selected inbound port there, which is fine, perfectly fine. Management, again, I'm just going to next through all this stuff, and you can check it out when you build your first virtual machine. If you want to enable auto shutdown, sure, you can do that if you want. Backups and all types of goodies here. Advanced stuff here. If you want to put in some type of extension, I'm not going to do any of that. take a look here at some tags. I'm not going to tag anything. Now, what's a tag? Because that'll be on your exam, right? Tags are name value pairs that enable you to categorize resources. You're basically you're basically staying organized. That's really it. So maybe you want to put a tag on a file server or data server, whatever you want. But it's a way to stay organized. Keep that in mind for the exam. Okay, let's review. Okay, again, I got that warning again, right? That it's basically saying this is unsecure connection. I know, I get it. It's going to tell me the pricing, of course. Know your pricing. Know your licenses for your exam. And I'm not worried about that because after the 30 days, I believe I'm going to start getting emails stating if I want to upgrade to a subscription that will work. I'm obviously not going to. I'm not going to pay for anything. And we're going to click on Create. Now, this is going to take a few minutes. We're going to take a little pause. And we'll be back once this finishes creating. Okay, so our server is now complete, ready to go. So let's check it out. Let's click on Go to Resource and the status. The status is already running. There's a subscription again. Microsoft definitely makes sure that they always tell us what our subscription is. And it's Server 2019 Data Center. Looking good here. Okay, everything is good. Looks like we have a private IP address as our external IP address, telling us our stats, 3.5 gigs, one virtual CPU, which is fine for testing purposes. All right, here's the magic now. So we're going to click on a connect, and we want to connect RDP, right? Port 3389. Now, here's something that you can do. And you can test your connection. Now, this may take a minute or two. We're gonna test RDP 339 TCP. All right, test connection. This might take a second, but while that's going, I do have RDP established for my other file server 1, and I just want to show you that I am connected to it. It did work successfully, and now I can navigate and get some hands-on experience with this version of server. And, there's a lot of things that you can do here. It's just like server in the physical world. And, you can click around, play with things, see what's going on, try to break it, and then try to fix it. It doesn't harm anything because you can always spin up another virtual machine, right? So you take a look here, you have your event viewer, see what's going on as far as, stuff that's happening on the server, check out your users, your groups, all that stuff. You want to check the performance. Someone's going to give you a call. Hey, Russ, I'm trying to access these Excel files and these large videos on file server 1, but it's slow. Okay, I will try to help you out, end user. Click, right? I then go to my server, go to performance, and maybe I can set up some of performance stuff here. And I can do some analyzing and see what's going on. Hopefully it is end user error, which is always what we want, right? But if it's not, you're going to have to further dive into it. You can still see that it is still doing our connectivity check. That's perfectly fine. So let's just navigate a little bit around here of server. Disk management, here you can see what's going on. They tell you, how much disk space you have. And obviously I have the ability to go into File Explorer and start creating files or start creating shares and let end users start putting their stuff on there. So that's very important, right? Let's just take another peek. It is still connecting. This could take a little bit, hopefully not, but let's further navigate. And what else can we do here on our server? Let's check out services, right? This is very good. It's also very important when you spin up a server that you really want to harden that server. You want to lock down things that you don't need, that is not necessary, that is going to open you up to vulnerabilities, and you also want to reduce those resources to save on money. Remember, the amount of resources, there you go, the amount of resources that you use equates to the monthly bill. So keep that in mind. Okay, so look into best practices and stuff like that. Go into services and you can see what's running on here, and maybe there are services that you want to shut down, stuff like that. I just wanted to show you that. Okay, look, network connectivity allowed. So in theory, according to Microsoft, I should be able to connect to file server 2 via RDP. So we're going to check it out here. And we did our check. So let's go back to connect again. Okay, we're going to leave that. We're going to download the RDP file. We're going to do save as. Let's put this right on our, let's put this in downloads and put it with my other server, right? I go to downloads here. You see the local connection. If I click on it, I'm going to get this box right here basically saying, hey, you are connecting. I don't want to be asked that again because it just gets annoying. Click connect. The username. We said it was mycc_admin. And I'm going to put in my secret password, right? Hopefully I connect. I like to click on remember me because I don't have a memory. And I'm going to click OK. This is a great sign right here. When you get this box right here saying, hey, you're about to connect. I'm getting a warning, your certificates, it's not secure right now. I know that. So we're going to click on yes, again, for testing purposes. And here I am. I am now loading into my server. It'll log in as an admin rather. And now you can do whatever you need to do on this virtual machine. And as you can see, it is loading up. You give it a second and that's it. Now, if you need more resources, you go into your settings and you apply more resources. If you need more virtual CPUs, if you need more memory, that's great because you're going to scale up. Remember, you're going to be charged for that, right? And that's basically it as far as of what I wanted to show you. But again, there is so much you can do in Microsoft Azure. So again, here is my virtual machine. I have 2 of them going. You can see here on the bottom, there's file server 1. I can minimize that. There's file server 2. Very good. And you go back to your Azure dashboard. You can click on home and you can see I have 2 virtual machines here. I am going to end up shutting them down because as they're running, I am burning up my credits because Microsoft gives you like $200 credit or something for the month. And you don't want to burn that up. So that is basically it. So I hope you learned and enjoyed this demo of Azure creating a simple virtual machine. Let's continue our conversation at Cybersecurity Lounge. That's my Facebook group. I have close to 52,000 members now. I would love to hear from you. As always with cybersecurity, be aware, be safe, and be cyber smart. We'll talk soon. Thank you.